Hi folks, thank you very much for joining me. Sorry to hijack your Roy Buchanan thing, but I've just fallen down a quick 60-second rabbit hole of the other great guitar player like this, Rory Gallagher. See if I can just indulge myself for 60 seconds or so while the valves are still hot in the Fender Twin. Just love this tone. Good evening, good evening. Hope you're all very well. Right, yes, let's get into some Roy Buchanan, one of my favourite players, and I'm often requested by you kind folks to go into a bit more detail sometimes on Roy. So here we are, looking at some of the wee techniques. You could loosely call them just telecasting. All these great players do similar things, but Roy is a wee bit unique. So I'm going to break that stuff down at the end. What else have I been doing? I've been hurting my thumb. My thumb just blew up. Apart from that, what else? I've been watching a bit of, it's funny your insecurities. I was watching Tom Bukovac and he commented on on the last video. And Tom, of course, is Mr. Cool. Not a man of many words. And so it was funny because he's got a habit of saying things that initially make me wag my tail and think, yeah, am I doing okay? And then he'll say something and you're left doubting yourself. The last time he did it was on that, a couple of years ago. He did a thing about bending. He wanted to bring sexy bends back. And I've just put in a wee throwaway thing. And he mentioned me at the end of that video. And he was saying, yeah, the great players, Paul's awesome, he's doing great, he's getting better, he said. So now I'm wagging my tail thinking, Tom Bukovac said I'm getting better, this is great. And then he pauses and he talks about, yeah, the difference between a pro and lesser mortals is just that 1%. And that's where he ended it. So I was left thinking, well, have I got the 1%? Have I not got the 1%? And he did it the other day. He put a comment on saying, nice plunking laddie, on my video. So I'm all wagging my tail. Great, Tom Bukovac said nice plunking. In his next video, he talks about, there's this guy, he's a YouTuber, he's a gifted guitar player, YouTuber, a lot of subscribers now. But man, I just want to tell this guy to slow down. And the video's headed up something like the hallmarks of a intermediate guitar player. So now I'm thinking, is he talking about me? Is he saying I'm Russian? It's amazing how you live on this fragile plane. You've got you guys saying, Paul, great player, man. And then somebody can say something you're just left hanging thinking, shit. It's funny. I laughed. I actually put a comment saying, Tom, I do fear that the person you're actually talking about here is myself. And I have to say, Okay, I'll take that criticism from you, because I do sometimes, like on some of the faster stuff, I will find myself trying really hard to just sit in the groove and be in the pocket. But I notice little moments where I'm not, and I'm rushing. And of course, when Tom notices that, so I said, I think you're maybe talking about me, Tom. And yes, I'll take that on board. And I said, of course, unless you're not talking about me, then you think I'm an egotistical maniac. And he came back saying, you're an egotistical maniac. So it's funny how we all live on this fine line between being confident and then somebody ripping the rug out from under you. Anyway, I'm just sharing. Thank you, Tom, if you're watching. And let's get into the Roy Buchanan thing then. Let's break it down. Chords wise, right? Super simple. Key of G, up 2 frets to A7, to your 5 chord, and your classic rock and roll walk down. That we've heard the bass player do a million times in music. All I'm doing is I'm borrowing my middle finger from my D chord to put on the C note. The B comes courtesy of a B minor, and the A note comes courtesy of the D chord, but played from the open A. Back to G. There's a 4 chord in there somewhere, a C, and then there's a relative minor, E minor. Super simple. Techniques wise, all the usual fun Telecasting techniques are here. I'll be doing swells like that. I'm just thinking, by the way, about that shape, the G chord, but bringing it in by striking the B string a semitone too low, and having to bend it in with the help of a swell. I'm not particularly good at swells. If you look at my right hand, I'm making mistakes all over the place here. People like Campolongo are amazing at it. I've got not very big hands, so I struggle with that. I do my best, but I do struggle. But I love the technique so much, it's never going to leave me. So there's lots of that. Then I want to talk about the way Roy Buchanan slides. If you think of people like Chris Buck, their slide, like Chris's slides, are so accurate and fast, almost like he's playing a fretless, and that's his USP. He's obviously worked his whole life on that. Roy Buchanan's slides, on the other hand, are very lo-fi and old school, and you can almost hear his finger over each bit of fret wire. It's really charming. Watch this. I mean, that, he's in no hurry to get from A to B. So I said, come on, hurry up. And so you hear that a lot in Roy Buchanan's music, this drag, slow slide over the wires, and it just adds to the whole idea that the Telecaster is this force of electrification. It's just... He's very much finds ways to reinforce that. That is Telecaster. So that reinforces that. His bending, I didn't do very well there, but I was about to say be very accurate. Unlike blues, you don't have a lot of room to blame it on passion. You've got to be quite accurate. If you think of country, it's very accurate. That note needs to get to that note. Then what have we got as it turns around? Just having a little C on there. Then we're going for some wilder stuff. Oh yeah. Just having fun. Didn't even have to be the right notes, like there weren't really the right notes there either, but I'm just having fun with it. course the right hand is damping all the time. What I was actually doing was this. A bit sort of Gallagher in its nature, Rory Gallagher. Hopefully you can see note-wise what I'm doing there. And then of course we're on the 5 chord. So the chicken part, that technique of course, usually using the G string to do that. Just, of course the right hand is just dampening the string. Whatever you want to do. What a useless teacher I am, eh? Yeah, it's just these shapes, you know, whatever you want to do. How about some musical background, Paul? I'm not really sure what the musical... No, when you're on the 5 chord, these harmonised little double stops occur all throughout Chuck Berry and the rest of the rock and roll catalogue. So I'm not going to analyse them, but if you play them wrong, it'll be obvious. And what else? Nice wiry sounding bends. Here's an interesting one. And that is weird. That's something that I just kind of made up after watching, like, I don't know what it should be this. And that's the notes. I've got this way of making it sound a bit weird, like Jeff Beck maybe, or what Roy Buchanan sometimes seems to do. I don't think they're doing that. Jeff's doing it with the tremolo, of course, and Roy's not got a tremolo arm, so I'm just going. It's wrong, it's deeply wrong. And yet it has a weird charm to it. You just play whatever you want. Weird, eh? Now we're on the D, of course. That's why we've been doing all these things. We're still on the D. The band's doing that walk down. Whatever. And Roy goes classic D pentatonic, which is the likes of Tom Buchanan would say, never do this. This is we're back to Peaceful Easy Feeling and how wrong that guitar solo is in theory. But yet, a bit like Peaceful Easy Feeling, when you play straightforward pentatonic based on just simply the chord the band happens to be at, it's a terrible, terrible idea that Tom Buchavac's always saying marks you out as a complete novice, please don't do it. But sometimes people do it in music and it sounds really good here. And that's just the D blues pentatonic. We're not even in D, we're on D at the moment, but it's just a terrible idea, but it does sound quite good. And then of course, look at this hand here. This hand will not unbind from the guitar until I want you to hear a particular note. I don't want you to hear any notes, but I might want to hear this note. And when I do, I will unbind my hand and I'll let that note pop out. So that's all he's doing there. Then, it's a nice pretty stuff, sensitive stuff, maybe flicking a pit. I've flicked now. I've flicked to the middle position. Just based around that shape of G. Then I did a sort of a Paul Cook, my latest thing, these half step rubs that I've been getting into. To to herald in, just to sort of almost reference that classic rock and roll thing of suspending the G and then resolving it, but I'm doing it via fretted D and G strings to get that sound by picking the open B in jarring contrast to the fretted G string. Then I do a little bit of a you have to learn that if you don't want, but I just liked it. I came up with it. Just the major pentatonic, but I'm using half step rubs or rubs. Fretted notes in conjunction with open notes. Here it's the fretted B string in conjunction with the open E. I'm going to twist this round a wee bit. Now it's the fretted G string with the open B. Just I like experimenting with that. Just going to put this over a wee bit like that. There we are. Then I like this. I came up with this. This is great. He says himself. Quite modest, eh? I thought, yes, get me into some of that stuff. I just stole the idea from going from one position to the other from many players, but this is a particular Tobias Hoffman trick where he'll go that type of thing. But I've borrowed it and it'll never leave me now. It's now mine, Tobias. You're not getting it back. And that, of course, the band heralds the fact that the band's now going to A. That's just a classic rock and roll, or country should I say, type of thing. Just bending that to that. Double stops. Whatever I did, something like that. Then a typical Albert Lee. Just slowing that down. Run D. Nice little I think I started out initially with single notes, yeah. And it's just classic walking down the E minor pentatonic scale, or you might look upon it as the G scale, but I'm playing the E minor. Which of course the E minor pentatonic is pretty much the same as the G major. Loved that one. I found that out when I was about 11 years old. But now I'm starting to do double notes. Not in an accurate way, in a very sort of Hendrixy type. Just stuff like that. And so it goes. Anyway, I digress. I hope you get something out of that.